Hello, my name is Nina Haley, and I'm a yoga teacher here at Tru Yoga in Salmiya, Kuwait. Welcome to this practice of cycle awareness yoga. And this practice is all about connecting with where you are in your menstrual cycle. So for many women, when they're practicing yoga, they just go to yoga class with no regard to whether they're bleeding, whether they're whether they're premenstrual, whether they're in their follicular phase or their luteal phase. Most women aren't really tracking exactly where they are in their menstrual cycle and how that relates to their yoga practice. So for some of us, during menstruation, there are some of us that like to go really hard, and then there are some of us that need something that's very gentle and restorative. During ovulation, some women have high energy and other women have low energy. In the premenstrual phase, right before your period starts, some women feel really low, forward folds don't feel good, deep twists don't feel good, sometimes back bends feel really good, and sometimes they don't. So this practice of cycle awareness yoga is all about being super in tune with your body, understanding your menstrual cycle, understanding what the follicular phase is, what the luteal phase is, understanding how to practice during menstruation, after menstruation, pre-ovulation, during ovulation, post-ovulation, and during the premenstrual phase. So when you understand your cycle, you can go into a yoga class with a good understanding of your body and what it is you need on that particular. So cycle awareness yoga aligns with the basis of yoga, which is being fully present and aware with your body and with the cycles of our body, because this is a continuous cycle that happens when you're not hormonal birth control, a continuous cycle that happens for many women every month for many years. So if you can go into a class and modify your practice in a way that suits your body, or if you can find a yoga class that is specific to women and their menstrual cycles, then you can support the menstrual cycle, which is the fifth vital sign. It is a sign of our overall general health. So being mindful of your menstrual cycle. That's what this practice is all about. So what you will need for today, the yoga mat, a blanket to go underneath of your knees, yoga blocks or books, and either a yoga bolster or some pillows or maybe some really thick blankets to roll up. So as we move through this practice, you will make modifications for wherever you are. If you're feeling more energetic, then you'll step into some regular sun salutations. If you're feeling more like, blah, it's right before your period, or it's during your period, or maybe it's that post-ovulation phase where your energy has dipped just a little bit, then you'll have modifications for how to kind of chill out and relax. Okay, so we're gonna start out in a comfortable seated position. And if sitting cross-legged is not comfortable for you, or if you feel like you're unable to get the spine nice and long, then you can sit your buttocks on either blocks or a blanket. But you should be comfortable enough. The knees are not above the hips, but the knees are more down. You see, I have really tight hips, so I prefer to sit in Virasana, but for today, I'll be sitting in Sukhasana. So just taking one hand to the heart, and one hand over the lower abdomen, and beginning to settle into the breath, lengthening through the spine, chin is parallel with the floor, and you can keep the eyes softly open, gazing at the tip of the nose or down at the floor, or you can close the eyes completely. Inhaling through the nose, and exhaling through either the mouth or the nose, whichever feels more comfortable for you. Releasing the jaw, softening the muscles of the face. Softening into the inhales and relaxing into the exhales. Noticing how the heart lifts up into the hands on the inhales. Notice how the navel presses out into the hand on the inhales. And then notice how the navel draws up and under the rib cage up towards the heart on the exhales. Inhale, the heart moves up into the left hand, the navel moves out into the right hand, and on the exhales, the navel draws up under the rib cage and up towards the heart. It's as if the womb is drawing up closer to the heart. Good, we'll be here for 5 more breaths. And just taking a moment to recognize where you are in your cycle. If you're just tracking your period, maybe you know what day you're on. If you're actually charting your cycle, meaning you're taking basal body temperature, you're checking cervical fluid, maybe cervical position, then you know pretty much exactly where you are in your cycle. So just being aware or having some mindfulness of where you are, even if it's just, my period was last week, or it's coming next week. One more breath here. Good, and gently opening up your eyes. If you have them closed, making your way onto your back. So I like to roll onto my side to protect my core and my pelvic floor, and then roll onto my back. And you're just drawing the knees into the chest here. So bringing the knees in, hugging the knees in. If this feels good for you, maybe you can circle the knees around or rock them from side to side. Just kind of being aware of what's happening in the lower back, in the pelvic region. And then releasing the feet down to the floor. Extending that left leg up towards the ceiling here. Interlacing your hands either behind the left thigh or maybe behind the left calf here. Just whichever feels better for you. Flexing the toes down towards the face. And then crossing the left ankle over the right knee, or over the meaty part of the right thigh here. So this is this knee to ankle pose here. And then you can stay here if this feels good for you. If you feel like you want to take this a little bit deeper, then you're taking your hands and weaving them around the right thigh, holding on to either the back of the hamstring or the right shin. Keep both of your feet flexed here and draw the legs in towards the chest. 5 breaths. One more breath here. And slowly release that right foot back down to the floor. Gonna cross the left leg all the way over the right, as if you were sitting cross-legged in a chair. We call these nice little lady legs here. You can take your arms out to the side, press your right foot into the floor, pick up your hips and shift your hips to the left side of your mat. Now drop the legs to the right side of the mat for 5 breaths here. So you're coming into a spinal twist. Keep both of the shoulders connected to the mat. One more breath here. Inhale, bring the hips and the knees back to the center of the mat. Uncrossing your legs here. Bringing your hips back to the center of the mat, and now extending the right leg up to the ceiling, interlacing your hands behind the back of the right thigh. Drawing the toes towards the face. And then crossing that right ankle over the meaty part of that left thigh. Again, keep your right foot flexed, and you can just stay here. You don't have to go any further, just feeling that release through the pelvic region. Or you can take the hands, frame that left leg, and interlace the hands behind the left thigh or to the left shin. Keep both of your feet nice and flexed here, drawing the legs into the chest. Breathing into that release. And it really depends on where you hold on to tension and tightness, or where you might feel this. Some people feel it in the inner thigh, some people feel it in the outer hip, some people feel it in the buttocks or the hamstrings. It just depends. One more breath here. Releasing that left foot down to the floor. Cross your right leg all the way over the left, lady legs here. Pick up your hips, shift them to the right side of the mat, and then allow the legs to fall to the left for that spinal twist here. Keeping one more breath. Inhale and coming back to the center, uncrossing your legs, but then rolling yourself completely onto your side, pressing yourself up and coming onto all fours, hands and knees. So drawing the knees underneath of the hips and the wrists underneath of the shoulders, coming into some cat-cow here. So lengthening through the spine, draw the shoulders away from the ears, crown of the head is reaching forward, and exhale, press the floor away. Rounding out through the spine, look back. Inhaling and lengthening. So on those inhales, imagine that you're breathing through the front side of the body, and then exhale through the back side of the body. And then inhale, front side of the body. You can add in some movement here. Exhaling through the back side of the body. Inhaling through the front side of the body. Exhaling through the back side of the body. Two more. Inhale, front side. Exhale, back side. And one more. Taking it all the way back into child's pose. Big toes are close together. Sitting the hips back to the heels. Take the knees as wide as you need to. Releasing the forehead down. Walking the hands out. 5 breaths. Lengthening through your spine, pressing both of the hips back evenly here. You can even shift your hips from side to side. Just kind of see how your pelvic region is feeling today. Making space for the womb. Good. Inhaling and looking forward, rising back up onto all fours and beginning to circle the shoulders and the pelvis around. So leading with your pelvis. Imagine that you're trying to draw a circle on your mat with your pelvis here. Inhaling as you come forward and exhaling as you move back. The circles can be big or small, they can be fast or slow, but leading with the breath. Changing directions and circling your pelvis the other way. Taking the shoulders as far forward as feels good for you and taking the hips as far back as feels good. Good. 2 more in this direction. And then inhaling and coming back to the center. Taking your left foot, Step your left foot up to the outside of your left hand, and then walk your hands off to the right side of your mat so that you can continue those pelvic circles here 3 times in each direction here. And then changing directions. Again, these can be as big or as small as feels right for you. Good. Coming back to the center, walk your hands back to the center of your mat. Make sure that you keep some knee and heel alignment. Take your left forearm to the top of your left thigh and begin to circle that right arm around, leading with your elbow here to really get into your intercostal muscles. So those are the little muscles that sit in between your ribs. One more time around, and then changing directions, sinking your hips as much as feels good for you. And then releasing the hands back down to the floor, stepping your left knee back, and then taking the right foot forward up to the outside of that right hand. Walk your hands off to the left side of your mat and beginning again to circle your pelvis around. So we're getting the blood flowing and moving and circulating through your pelvic region and through the pelvic floor. Lots of blood flowing through your reproductive organs, changing directions and going the other way. So we're keeping a nice healthy pelvis and pelvic floor here. One more time around. Coming back to the center, take that right forearm to the top of the right thigh. Keep that knee-heel alignment and circle that left arm around, leading with your elbow. Sink your hips as deep as feels good for you. And then changing directions and going the other way. Being fully aware of the breath, releasing the hands down to the mat, stepping that right knee back here, drawing the wrist underneath of the shoulders, tucking the toes, downward facing dog, pressing the hips up and back here and beginning to circle the pelvis around. And then change directions, circle the pelvis the other way. Coming into a steady down dog, and then walking the feet all the way up to the top of the mat. Good, we're gonna come into a version of pumping water here. So you may need your blocks or your books. I'll show you the beginner version first. So the beginner version, you're taking your feet so that they're hip width apart, maybe a little bit wider, and your hands come to the tops of the thighs with the fingertips facing inward. You're in a nice kind of bent over position here, so your tailbone is facing down and back towards the back of the mat here. As you exhale, you are dropping your buttocks down towards the floor, but keeping some knee and foot alignment here. And then you inhale, lift the hips up, drop the head. Then you exhale, come back into that little mini squat here. Keep your knees tracking over the toes. Inhale, drop the head, straighten the legs. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten, drop the head. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. So for beginners, you're doing 10 of these. You're going to keep with that. For the more intermediate students that can go a little bit deeper, bring your fingertips to the floor and exhale, come down into a more full squat. Again, keeping that knee-toe alignment. Inhale, drop the hands. Exhale down. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Good, you're doing 10 of those. For the advanced students that have a full squat, your 4 fingers underneath comes to the top. 4 fingers underneath, and the thumb kind of wraps around the ankle here. You're exhaling, coming down into your squat, and inhaling up. Drop the head down, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 410. 5 more. And last one. Inhale, take it up. Halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold it forward, and inhale, rise all the way up to standing, bringing the palms together at the top. And exhale, bringing one hand to your heart, one hand to your low belly, circling your pelvis around, leading with the pelvis here. So the torso isn't really moving, it's the pelvis. Just getting some nice movement, and all of the muscles, the tendons, the ligaments, and the joints that support your pelvis, just releasing them, changing directions. Good, inhaling and coming back to the center, take the arms up. Exhale, folding it forward. Halfway lifting and lengthening. Planting your hands, stepping your knees back. 2 cat-cows here, inhaling and lengthening. Exhaling and rounding. And again, inhale through the front side of the body. Exhale through the back. Right back into your child's pose here. 3 breaths. Rising up onto all fours, tucking your toes, downward facing dog, pressing the hips up and back, grounding through your hands and your feet. Press the chest back towards the upper thighs. This time we're rocking the pelvis from side to side in whatever capacity and way that feels good for you. So you can bend one knee, then the other, or you can keep the legs straight, just kind of seeing what feels right for you. You can do the exact same thing that we just did by walking the feet all the way up to the top of the mat, coming back into that pumping water. Yeah? If that's not feeling good for you, if it's period time or you're not feeling it, then you can drop your knees and inhale, just take the arms up, and exhale, take it back into child's pose, bringing the hands back to the feet and dropping the head down. So you'll just be doing this, the inhaling and rising, kneeling posture, and down into child's pose if you're just not feeling the pumping water. For those of you that are feeling the pumping water, you're doing your 10. Building a nice strong pelvic floor. Good, stretching and strengthening and stabilizing here. Last 2. And 1. Inhale, bring it into your halfway lift and lengthen. Root through your heels as you fold forward, and inhale, rise. Nice strong legs and core. Palms come together at the top. Exhale, one hand to your heart, one hand to the low belly. Good. Figure 8s here. So again, you're leading with your pelvis. Imagine that you're making the infinity symbol or the English number 8 with the pelvis. Again, releasing those sacroiliac joints. Getting lots of circulation and movement. Change directions and now flow the other way. Lead with your pelvis. Tune into that divine feminine energy within you. Take your womb for a little ride here. Come back to the center. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, fold it forward here. Halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands, stepping your knees back. 2 cats, inhaling from the front side of the body and exhaling through the back side of the body. Inhale. Exhale through the back side of the body. Taking it right back into your child's pose. 5 breaths. Inhaling and rising up here. You can sit in Virasana with the hips to the heels if this is comfortable for you. If it's not, you can always take some blankets and blocks and bolsters and put them underneath your butt, underneath your knees, so that you can sit more comfortably here. I'm going to separate my knees a little bit more because I like to really go forward with my womb breathing. So I'm actually going to turn this way. And so for this womb breathing, starting with the left hand over the heart and the right hand over the low belly, just settling back into that rhythm of the breath. Again, just reflecting on where you are in your cycle right now. Are you giving your body exactly what it needs right here, right now, in this present moment, for where you are in your cycle and for what you need for a healthy menstrual cycle? And now inhaling that right hand up to meet the left, and then exhaling that right hand back down to the low belly. Inhaling the right hand up to meet the left, right over the heart, and exhaling the hand back down to the space of the womb. So just being aware that your womb space is our source power. And so with each and every inhale, allowing your uterus, your womb space, to regenerate the heart's capacity to love. And on each and every exhale, send from the heart down to the womb space the love and compassion and healing that it needs. Inhaling, regenerating the heart. And exhaling and sending little love vibes down into your womb space. Three more breaths. One more breath here. Inhaling both hands to the heart in Anjali Mudra. We're going to come into some womb breath with some mudras. So take an inhale with the palms together. And as you exhale, turn the hands down into downward facing yoni mudra. Thumbs and index fingers are touching. We make a nice little yoni there. And slide the hands from the heart down over the space of the womb. The hands come down to the earth, so grounding yourself here. Inhaling, taking the arms up and overhead. Bring the thumb and the ring finger together to connect with that Svadhisthana chakra, or that watery element, that space where the womb lies. Bring the hands back to the belly in Yoni Mudra, and then bring the hands back up to the heart. Exhale, downward facing Yoni Mudra, moving the hands from the heart down past the space of the womb, grounding yourself here, grounding into the earth, grounding into that root chakra. Inhale, rise, Yoni Mudra comes up to the top. Exhale, the thumb and the pinky finger together, connecting with that second chakra. Bring the hands back and around to the belly, Yoni Mudra. And inhale, the hands to the heart. We're going to do that 3 more times. Exhale, downward facing Yoni Mudra. Following the breath from the heart down to the space of the womb, grounding into the floor here. Inhaling and rising, thumb comes to the ring finger. Exhale, the hands down to the uterus, Yoni Mudra. And inhale, the hands back to the heart. Good. Exhale, breathing down into your womb space, grounding into that breath. Rising up. Exhaling. Inhaling. One more time. Placing the hands over the womb, Yoni Mudra for 3 breaths. Allowing the navel to expand out into the hands on the inhales. And on the exhale, the navel draws up underneath of the ribs to meet the heart. Exhale, navel comes up under the ribs and up to meet the heart. One more inhale, navel into the hands. Exhale, bring that womb space back up under the ribs to meet the heart. Making your way down onto your mat into a nice comfortable position. So whether that's in Pranamasana, lying on your front, this can feel especially good for those of you that are in your Menses phase of your cycle. And if you need a little bit more comfort, you can roll up a blanket, or you can take some pillows or bolsters and put them underneath of your hips, not under your belly, but under the hips, so that the pelvis is elevated slightly. The ribs come to the mat and the knees come to the mat. So it allows for you to create some space for your womb. And it can feel really nice to just be here. It also helps to release the psoas if you have some really, if you tend to be tight through the hips, through the front side of the body during menstruation. So this is one option. The second option is to come into a side lying position, Parshva Shavasana. So lying on your side, allowing the bottom leg to be straight, the top leg kind of crosses over, and then the torso just melts towards the mat, supporting the head with the arms and the hands. If you feel like you need some more opening, especially if you're menstruating right now or it's premenstrual time, bring the top leg onto a bolster or pillow. The hip, the knee, and the ankle are all in alignment here. And then just supporting the head with the arms and the hands. If you prefer a more traditional release here, then coming into traditional Shavasana. So you can just lie flat on the back if that feels good for you. If you need some more support, then putting a bolster underneath of your knees here to get yourself nice and comfortable, or you can even bring the feet up onto the bolster to come into Supta Baddha Konasana. So if you just want to be here lying on your back, that's fine. You can also bring the hands into that Yoni Mudra and reconnect with your womb space. So I always like to think of the thumb coming towards the navel, and then the middle fingers and the index fingers come toward the pubic symphysis, to create that Yoni Mudra right over the uterus, resting the elbows, tuck the shoulders under a little bit here. Inhaling and allowing the abdomen to bulge forward into the hands. Navel presses forward, and on the exhales, drawing that navel and taking your womb up and underneath of the ribs and up towards the heart. Good. Take that inhale. Allow the navel and the womb to bulge forward into the hands, feeling that warmth of the hands. And as you exhale, draw the womb space up under the ribs and up towards the heart. Good. Coming back into that natural, easy rhythm of the breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling through either the mouth or the nose. Being fully aware of where you are in your cycle presently, not where you were yesterday, not where you will be tomorrow. Where are you today? Allow yourself to feel present, to be fully aware of the here and the now. Giving gratitude, blessings, and thanks for your womb space. And you can be here for 10 more breaths. I always recommend a minimum of 7 to 10 minutes in your resting posture. If you feel like you'd like to roll into a more meditative state, that being here for at least 20 minutes. Just creating this space and this time for yourself to connect with the true self. To connect with that cycle of breath, the cycle of menstruation, the cycle of life, as someone born with a uterus and ovaries. So being mindful of that. And then letting go of that and settling back into the breath. Allowing the breath to guide you into deeper rest and relaxation. A deeper sense of awareness. Be here for as long as you like. This practice of cycle awareness yoga is complete. Hari Om Tat Sat.